So the Morongo Basin is in the desert, and that desert is defined broadly as a ecosystem that gets less than 28 centimeters a year, which is a little over 11 inches a year of water. The Morongo Basin on the whole, depending on where you are, it gets in the neighborhood of 5 to 7 inches of water a year. A basin is a low point, and so water that falls as rain into the basin does not flow to the ocean. It stays within the basin itself and it percolates into the ground. So the water supply in the Morongo Basin is dinosaur water. This is water that's flowed here for thousands and thousands of years and is percolated, seeped down into the ground, and that is the water source that is used for living here in the Morongo Basin. If we were relying just on our very ancient water, our dinosaur water, we would be depleting our aquifer, the water supply that's in the ground. It's not being recharged fast enough by rainfall to be able to make up for the use of the water in the basin. So this year is our 10th year having a landscape tour, and we've chosen 5 sites representing different types of landscapes, from cultivated to native, and at different elevations, everywhere from the lower elevations of Twentynine Palms and Morongo Valley up to our site here, which is at the highest elevation, 4,300 feet. In the past, we've had roughly 400 people that have attended our physical landscape tours, and we're hoping this year that we'll have even more by doing this virtual tour.
I'm Jerry Mattis. This is my landscaping. And all this developed in the last 27 years or so. The creosote is, they say, is the oldest plant in existence now. In Johnson Valley, they have a creosote that is 14,000 years old. The main reason that Desert Wise wanted this piece of property on the tour was because I didn't destroy the creosotes. I manicured them into pieces of art almost. This is a creosote that's a volunteer. I have 2 or 3 that are volunteers now that came up. I'm keeping them very small to have that accent of green. And that particular creosote over there, if you look amongst the green, you'll see that it's growing in a circle. So I got excited when I realized that was happening and that I was getting this cloning effect. This is an aqua teal. This was my 4th one that I put into the ground. I was never successful at them. Put it in the ground, go out every 2 or 3 days and spray that plant. And then once a week, fill the well of the plant with water. And if you do that for 2 years, you'll be a success. And I've had great success with this smoke tree because it gets just the right amount of water. It gets watered by the gray water system, every week or so. So a desert-wise strategy is to worry about the water. I put in small levees to flow the water in this direction. I also have in this direction put in recycled concrete. I had them bring the material over here, dump it in my yard, and then I took a sledgehammer, broke it up into rocks, stained the rocks with iron sulfate, and then it becomes part of my water control system. This over here is a Texas stage, a ranger. I trimmed it into a tree. It's one of the older plants on the property. In the back patio area, when you look at my palm trees, you'll see I have not pruned them much unless I had to because they were next to the property. Again, because I want to create a place for the animals to live. So that I always have that kind of activity going on in the yard. I know I'm enhancing the desert, but I'm enhancing it with its kind of life that it should have and what the animal life wants.
We're fortunate enough to have several of these junipers on our property, and this particular one is just, as you can see, is mammoth. Someone from the Desert Institute told me that it was several hundred years old. When we first moved here 20 years ago, there wasn't a lot of choices for native plants to buy. Gradually, though, over the 20 years, we've placed a lot of the non-drought resistant plants with more natives, especially with Mojave Desert Land Trust having their sales. So every year I try to replace a plant or two. This is a natural wash that runs through our property right here, as you can see, and we've accentuated it with river rock. And it's really turned out great because when it rains, we have any long, steady rain, this turns into a little river stream. We left a lot of the native desert all untouched, and we cultivated just this part around the immediate area, around our patio area. Now, we have a drip system that we installed when we built the house, and we have like 5 different stations. Desert-wise means to me is, aside from landscaping, it means your daily life and how to conserve water here, and to know that water is a precious commodity, and that when you turn on that tap, you know, don't waste it.
I'm Snake Jagger. I'm an artist. I live here in Morongo Valley. And this is a little example of my art. I do, my trails are meant to represent my paintings, which are a manicured desert. Man has the ability to take care of the planet. And that's kind of the message I have in my artwork, is that we should be good stewards of the world that we live on. And while we're here, there's something magical about putting together paths and little things, little vignettes that turn it into something else. As in my paintings, I like to put little bridges in, little water features, and or the dry river bed. This has been a fun project for me. Doing stuff like this is stretching my creative ability, and I'm able to do things that I didn't even know I could do. You know, building these bridges was a challenge. I'll say that. That I have things like floating rocks or water in places that wouldn't normally be, or a bench with an English light pole. It's always having a little something out of place. So the fountains are solar fountains, And every day I get up and fill my water bucket and go out and fill my fountains, and I'll stand back and look at them and smile. It's something, I don't know what it is, but it's the idea of having the moving water. It's there for the animals and the birds to enjoy, and I get a kick out of it. I feel good just looking at it. It makes me feel good. So I know that when people come and walk my trails, I'm sure they have that same sense of, I don't know, it's whimsy. This is what my whole place is about. It's meant to cheer people up, make them happy, and give people an idea of what they could do with a wild desert landscape.
Hi, I'm Shelley Fredenberg. Some of the natives that I do have in the yard are the Mojave Poppy, which the poppy flowers are just about spent. They're going to seed now, which these are the seed pods. And then the dandelions, which are really gorgeous this time of year. This is my favorite tree right here, which is the mesquite. It makes its own beautiful canopy. All we have to do is cut underneath it so that we can walk under it. Then we have a couple of palo verdes, very, very drought tolerant. They get the beautiful yellow flowers. So we've got blue agaves, which produce profusely, and you'll see them all through our garden. So it started with one agave, blue agave, and now we have many. And having the rock close to them, it holds the moisture in. We put a lot of rocks in the landscaping. We wanted some pathways through our garden. In your garden, when you have cactus, they do grow profusely. So I just take a good knife and cut it off, but you also need some really nice tongs from the house to be able to pick them up. So cactus aren't as hard to deal with as some people think that they might be. You just need the tools. I came from Orange County, and when I did, I wanted all the plants from Orange County. I tried it like most people do. It's foolish because it won't grow up here, and you're going to spend money on water, wasting water. So this was the way to go. I finally embraced our desert and the beauty in it, and there is so much beauty in our desert.
Good morning, I'm Steve Bardwell.
I'm Sarah Kennington.
So we built our house from the ground up. This was undeveloped property, and we started this in 2009.
We were very careful when we surveyed the site for the house to locate Joshua trees and acacias. If you do have to clear vegetation, save the topsoil.
Yeah.
Because we had a mound that when we were ready to plant and construction was done, we distributed across all the scraped area. But the vast majority of our plants are natives. This is a California native, a manzanita. It's in a cage because everything, if we don't cage things, the wildlife will just devour it. It's a salad bar if you don't cage your things. But this Apache plume had been in a cage for maybe 3 or 4 years, and I'm seeing if maybe I can decage it. I've come to like cages.
Yeah.
At first I really resented them, but it kind of makes gardening possible.
So the roof form on the house is such that all the water comes out in 3 separate places, and the roof water that comes out from here we conducted into a catch basin with a pipe and then created a swale through here, which has turned out to be a nice environment for plants to be growing on. We found after a year or so, we found a Indian paintbrush that's sprouted up right here.
Yeah, and it's the only place on the property.
So we're 100% off the grid here. All of our power we make ourselves and use batteries for the nighttime. It's kind of a skinny system, rather small. So this is, I call this the high value room. So these inverters then change the low voltage power to high voltage, the line voltage, alternating current, and that's where this then feeds into the system. Then we have, this is our boiler, a high efficiency gas boiler, but it is a supplemental source of heating the water beyond our solar water heating. We have solar water heating on the roof, which heats the water. This is both a boiler and a solar hot water storage tank. Yeah, so our gray water is the water we use from our washing machine, which is in this room right here. And we've created a pipe underground to direct that water out to the trees. We use a laundry detergent that is biocompatible by a company called Oasis. And so the water can via a pipe underground, and we've got then we have all 3 of these mesquite trees up front that are watered by that gray water. We have a valve here, and we have a little homemade valve turner here. It's all plastic piping. So now I'll turn the water off from here, and it goes into a small perforated pipe that goes down a few feet, so it gets water down in deeply to the roots of the plant. It's biocompatible. It's like a fertilizer for these plants. These trees have just loved this.
Resources are limited out here. I mean, water is extremely limited. You want drought tolerant and xeroscopic plants.
So it's been continually an idea of living lightly and thinking about how we're impacting the land.